Hey there guys, and welcome back to Alex Invest. Today I want to mostly talk to you guys about MVMD because there's been quite a few developments there. I also want to look at the chart a little bit because some of the things I mentioned in my last update on MVMD are relevant there as well. So starting off here, we're going to take a look at the AGM business presentation and this, which goes along with that AGM business presentation, right? And just some of the updates we got there. Starting off oncology, in the video, not much was mentioned, right? As they say here as well, they're kind of still working through some of these things. Initial results were good, but there's still lots of work to be done. So I think this is still going to be a ways down the road before we see much, especially considering in this video update, right, which I highly recommend you guys check out. There wasn't too much information there on oncology, as we can see, right? It was just mostly we're still working on things there. Moving on, right? Husbandry animals. This is fantastic, guys. We should see something here in the next 6 months with the Bangladesh government. There's a lot going on. But they still need to work on that stability and then moving into GMP production, right? And Dennis says in the video that could be roughly 3 months getting that stability, right, for commercialization, right? And then, you know, another potentially 3 months of getting that GMP production set up, etc. And then from there, we can actually start to see some revenues from this husbandry animal lane, right? Which is really good there. But again, still some work to be done on stability, then moving into GMP production, then moving into commercialization, selling products. What's interesting is that Dennis has said they have a full commercialization pathway now and sort of timeline there, right? He says in the video that they've got full direction from the Bangladesh government and they're looking to commercialize as quickly as possible. And by doing that, they want to go through a certain veterinary lane there, right? Which would be interesting as well to see. Still more to be updated on, of course. And yes, it's still a little ways down the road, but I have a feeling, you know, I talked about this kind of in my last MVMD video or 2 videos ago, potentially, how they want to announce something with that uplisting. Now we might not see that uplisting at all, right? But that in concert, right, with the uplisting, and I think it could be this husbandry animal lane, considering we may only have another 3 months to 6 months here before we see some commercialization there. And those 3 months, right, after that, we're going to get an update on full, like a full commercialization update there, their strategy going to market and how quickly we're going to see that moving to market, right? So again, that's roughly in 3 months and beginning of 2022, right? Or at the end of this quarter is sort of where they said last time that we would see some major updates. And again, I think it could be that there. Interestingly, they're looking at fisheries now as well, right? Using their Avectisol 1%. Could move quite quickly there as well to commercialization with the husbandry animal lane. Of course, all those other things still apply, right? Stability needs to be improved there, moving into GMP production there as well, right? So these kind of go hand in hand there, right? They are still working with the Bangladesh government on that. Ivectol, interesting that they're doing this. Apparently there's a need for straight ivermectin right now before we see that Ivectisol commercialization. So in the meantime, MVMD is doing a pharmaceutical production of its own generic ivermectin for now. So interesting that they're doing this, I think, but you know, for sort of immediate revenues, that could be good. Then again, we haven't seen anything for immediate revenues there, so we'll have to see about that, but not much of an update there for you guys. Other than that, in the video, cold chain as well, again, not too much of an update there. Just Dennis mentioning again that they are kind of continuing their work with the FDA. There's still work to be done there, though, as well. As we know, CRA is generally up to 2 years, right? So not saying that they're not going to have anything there earlier than that, but you know, they are dealing with sensitive work there, and it really does need to be, you know, very, very precise. So again, quite a bit there still to be done. Other than that, you know, not much on COVID there really. Of course, we can't get into any of that until we have husbandry going and until we see kind of more information on the effects of ivermectin against COVID-19 there, right? So again, still a ways down the road for that, especially for human consumption there, of course. Circadian Wellness, again, they're a partner they're working with right now, and I'm not sure if I'm too fond of this space, but again, if it generates revenues and gets them moving here, I'm all for it, right? Now, a big announcement, right? Insulin, again, also not too much information there yet. Still a lot of work to be done, right? And you know, for these things that they still have a lot to be done, it's interesting because they just kind of go through you know, facts about the space, how many people, you know, require how many people have diabetes, what's required for that, whereas really what we want to see, right, is more about their business, what they're doing kind of to expand that research, or even, you know, move into revenues, move into commercialization, right? What are they doing in that space with regards to research, etc.? And we don't get that much, right? For things that they don't really have a lot of update for, like, you know, for example, insulin being one of them. But again, Circadian, going back to this, they do have a product coming out. Here it is quickly, just to see that. Then what I really liked as well is that Cannabis update, right, with RWB, and yes, there's a full kind of news release on that as well. They've entered into a letter of intent there, which doesn't mean much, but what's nice is they hope to, right here, right, Mountain Valley and RWB anticipate completing a product development and commercialization licensing agreement before the end of October 2021, right? That does not mean that they will start selling by the end of October 21, but the license agreement will be set, and that'll kind of show sort of some of the revenues that could be realized by MVMD quite quickly here, right? And again, this could be nice to get us going on some revenues here. Likely the most near-term revenues will be this license agreement with Red, White, and Bloom. And then from there, we'll probably see revenues for Bangladesh, assuming everything goes right with GMP production, stability issues, etc. Right? So good things happening here. This should make you less concerned. You know, if you're one of those investors that's concerned, oh, Dennis is lying, it's all fake. Well, you know, seeing things like this really shows that it's not, and it shows where the company can go and where it is currently going, right? So hopefully we will experience some nice growth moving forward there. Now, although we have no idea what that licensing agreement is going to look like, I did want to show you guys quickly the income statement here for Red, White, and Bloom, show their growth, and again, show that there is potential for some revenues here for MVMD, right? With this license agreement, we can see sales have been increasing dramatically, right? Well, pretty much 12 times, right? And, you know, for the 6 months ended, you know, much higher there. And we can see, you know, obviously their first few years here, not much growth, but hopefully the growth we're seeing here continues over the next few years here. And with that, obviously the license agreement with MVMD, if that product line happens to be doing well, which it should, right? It's something new, innovative product here. We could realize some good revenues for MVMD depending on how that license agreement's set up. But again, nearer term revenues here happening, and partnering with a company like Red, White, and Bloom, although not a big cannabis company or anything like that, right? Still a company which, you know, has revenues, is looking to implement MVMD's technology through a license agreement. And again, with sales growing like that, if that continues, that's just going to lead to more revenues for MVMD there as well. Interesting company though. I'm not invested in Red, White, and Bloom at all, but one to definitely watch out for here, especially kind of at their current price. So the rest of the video was okay, but you know, I'm really excited for those two lanes, right? The cannabis lane and the husbandry animal lane there. Those are going to be our nearest term revenues as well, and good things to come hopefully from oncology too. But again, there's still so much work left to do there. Same with cold chain, right? And yes, you know, we will eventually see updates there, but don't expect anything too near term for those two things, right? If you're invested in this company right now. Moving on here, I want to look at the MVMD chart here quickly with you guys, because there's a few things which I noted in my last video on MVMD, and it's interesting we're seeing that same pattern again, right? And that's basically, you know, we see a huge dip, we see a run, right? Huge dip, a little bit of a run there. You know, on this is more of a downtrend here, but here, right, we see a huge dip, big run, huge dip, a big run, right? And what I said is we might be seeing this again, and every time we dip, right, it's new lower lows, and we're seeing that again, unfortunately, was hoping that trend might be over, and we pass back up and don't come back below that 0.23 level. We did, and so we might see it again, right? We're seeing that run again, and what we might see next here, right, is us dip further down. Now, hopefully this is the bottom here, but again, that's something to watch out for, and it's something where you have to keep in mind that a lot of this might be part of that manipulation that we're seeing in some of these small cap Canadian stocks, especially MVMD here, right? Because again, it's so hard to tell a short interest on these smaller cap markets like the CSE, like the TSXV, right? And that hurts us as investors, obviously, because we can't see any of that manipulation there. But this, right, seeing something like this does show that there is that manipulation there in some senses, right? This is potentially shorts covering here, right? Pushing up the price quite heavily, shorting again, coming back down, right? And rinse and repeat here, right? Essentially. But this really has nothing to do with the company and where the company is going. And that's why I'm not too worried to see this. I did not pick up any shares on this dip, probably should have, but again, we might see this pattern continue. Hard to say for now. And as I've said before, I'm not selling a single share because of where, again, even, in the next 6 months here, we could see some good revenues coming out of MVMD. But again, we won't know that. And it is speculation until we see some of this license agreement, which again, our first taste of that is going to be that cannabis sector, right? So do watch out for that. Quickly, while we're on that subject, let me share with you guys this right here. Now, again, we can't see any of that short interest for the CSE stock, but what we can see is for the MVMDF. And yes, it's not many shares at all, right, compared to the float here, but we're seeing short interest not come down. In fact, continually going up. If this is the same on the CSE, right, this is the OTC market here. If we see the same thing on the CSE, that means there could be quite a lot more shares shorted because there is so much more volume on that, on the CSE compared to the OTC when you look at the market comparison, right? And volume is often 10, 15 times higher than it is for MVMDF, right? And because of that, the short interest on MVMDF, if we look at the CSE, could be 10, 15 times higher there as well. But again, I have no idea. So that's really all just speculation there as well. So that's MVMD there for you guys, as quick as I could make it. 2 other things I wanted to quickly mention to you guys. One is I bought PROG as kind of a short squeeze candidate here. It didn't put too much money down on it, but I did put a little bit. We'll see what happens here. Not too much obviously else to say, but that short borrow fee rate is quite high. Short interest is pretty high as well. If enough people get around this one, we could see some nice moves there. So a little bit of a YOLO play, but I thought it could be a good one. So did put some money into that yesterday. We'll see where that goes. Not necessarily long on this stock, but one where we could potentially see a short squeeze from as well. And again, MVMD, same thing here, right? If enough people, if there is high short interest, which we don't know, but I think there might be, we could see something similar from MVMD there as well. Of course, the short borrow fee rate is quite low there. Finally, I wanted to mention I bought Camber Energy here, right? And I actually just saw the short report. I didn't own any shares up here or anywhere really around here, right? But I saw that short report. I saw the big tank. I said, you know what? I'm going to buy. I bought some shares yesterday right around, the 1.7-ish level, sorry, 1.17-ish level here. We did get a nice run. I sold some of my position just 20 minutes ago or so, and yeah, I sold about half my position, still holding half, and we're just going to see where this one ends up for now. Just wanted to let you guys know, I wouldn't necessarily buy it at these levels now, but I just wanted to let you guys know about that as well. And that is going to do it for the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment as always. And other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next video.